Good morning. Certainly a disappointing Friday night for your team. I know we talked about last week about how much the Governor's Cup means to you and your program, and to lose the way that you did had to be tough. I've gone back and looked at that one. Just give me your impressions on the game.
Yeah, I expressed to you guys how important that game is to us, our fan base, our school, our state, the whole nine yards. And, I'm not so certain that we took in the message clear enough. I think that at the end of the day, football is a game about who wants it more. And it certainly seemed like Brown played with that edge, that tenacity. But at the same time, we had plenty of opportunities to win that game running away. We started the game off with which is unfortunately becoming a little bit of a personality of ours. We turned the ball over 8 times in the last two games. We fumbled the opening kickoff. It wasn't, we got on it, no problem. 3 plays later, we get a pick and short field, give up a short field touchdown, which was unsettling just because that's the same way the game had started off last year, and know that we wanted to start quickly. So they got up 7-0, and then it was we seemed to have real grasp and ability to move the ball up and down the field at will. I mean, our passing game was going, we were running it decent, but I think the whole thing kind of flipped. We were going in third quarter, I believe it was, chance to tie it 21-21. We had phenomenal throw and catch by Dev to Greg Gaines, and Greg made the mistake of trying to strain to get the ball over the goal line. It went out, of the end zone touchback, and then they were able to drive 75, 80 yards for a two-score lead. And and then in that drive, we had a loss contained on the quarterback for a big hitter. We had a substitution error on defense. We ended up having a personal foul. So we've got many things to correct. I think we stayed in it. We fought it. We had the ball going down the field and had every expectation we could score late to get it tied and then maybe go in overtime. But they found a way to get their hands on a ball we couldn't get to, and that was it. But you turn the ball over 4 times, anytime you're playing a quality opponent, which I think Brown was, uh, it's going to be very difficult to win. But at the same time, even though we turned it over four, we were in the game. I thought we battled, but we just didn't complete the task, and now we got to look at an empty thing in the trophy case for a year, and that's disappointing. But our kids have rallied back. You had a couple days, since we played Friday night to mull over this whole thing, and we got a chance to get together yesterday and wrap the game up and kind of refocus ourselves on what we have ahead of us. We know that we got a 6-game stretch right now, and each one of them is a championship game. And starting with New Hampshire, you know, if you can't get up for that one at home, then we're probably all the BS about preseason favorites. That's got to be earned each and every week, and we haven't proven ourselves to show our best football team yet on the field at any one game. So it's necessary. It's necessary as we go forward.
Questions more from Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Coach. Coach Brendan Barrow got in the rotation for you in that game. Just talk about how he expands the possibilities of things he can do on the offensive side.
As always, Stevie, you see it the right way I see it. I mean, the kid has, a lot of juice. He's got a lot of speed and then some wiggle in there that gives us a needed dimension. I'm really thrilled with the way, Antoine Littleton's running the football. But you can't carry the load the entire season, particularly the way he runs. I think with BJ, he's the more healthy he gets, the more we can lean on him. I'm really interested in seeing him in the rotation to get, series and maybe not just play specific type things, but let him see what he can do with the regular offense. And then, once we're feeling good about his ability to really open it up vertically, then I think he gives us an added dimension in the return game. But I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do. And I've been waiting for that for a long period of time. It's been a very frustrating time for him and for us, waiting for him to get healthy enough to go.
If I could follow up, Rob, on the defensive side, Rohan David was your leading tackler again with 11, had a sack and a couple of TFLs. His impact on your defense, which is number one defense in the CAA right now.
uh, Big time. I mean, he's small in stature, he's big in heart, and he's big in in his preparation, and he's big in the terms of the proper attitude on how to play this game, and I think it's contagious. The end of the game, I walked in, and it's a weird stadium because you got separate locker rooms. So you walk in the offense, you walk in the defense, you get different flavors. But as I walked in the defense, Rohan was going on pretty good with some very meaningful things to his teammates, and I just sat down and listened. And as soon as they got finished, I walked out because I didn't need to say one thing. But he's a big time impact. I love the kid. He's got the spirit and the heart and the attitude of gratitude you're looking for out of any player. He just loves to play the game and loves every opportunity, and he'll be a catalyst for us.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah. Jeremy, you've been doing this a long time. When the turnover bug hits like it has, especially with veteran guys with two receivers who are extremely talented to put it on the ground, and then some passes from Dev. How have you addressed that, or can you address it too much? How do you deal with it?
That's a holy grail. I'm with you. I'm with you totally. It's and the story is it's got to stop. Now, I mean, you got two, I would assume, veteran players, junior players have been around. They've made a lot of plays for us. They play extremely hard and they've shown up a number of different times. Now, I mean, but if you take your foot off the gas in this game at all, and you have a team that's coming in and ripping at it, if you're not conscious at all times of understanding that the future of your football team is determined by your ability to hold on to that football. I don't think I need to say much to those kids. They know what they did. They know that I'm sure they didn't want to drop the ball, but they got to work heavy duty on their ball security. We work all the time. Interceptions, the first one for Dev, I can't blame him. They took a three-man twist and they put the chin right up underneath his helmet. And, we got to protect him better so he can set and throw his feet. We know he can get it where it needs to go. So that one you kind of just shrug off. And the last one, it was, it's a tough one. You're in a 2 minute situation. We're going down the field. Probably would have taken a different option. I'm sure he would have too. But I don't know. I mean, you've got to put it behind, and you've got to learn from those mistakes. And I see that learning curve every day for Dev. I mean, playing quarterback's not easy. All the different things we ask him to do. And he's getting better with his game management and his approach to it all. His leadership's getting strong. So we'll put this one in the rearview mirror, stop turning the ball over. Maybe we'll be able to get back on the winning track. I mean, it really comes down to that simplicity. And we just, we've been giving it away like chiclets.
Let's look ahead. As you said, New Hampshire coming to Meade Stadium on Saturday. Talk about some of the challenges they present for you.
That's New Hampshire. I mean, I think everybody kind of recognizes in the league that's become a very significant rivalry, particularly in the Northeast. I think that there's a very elevated emotion to this game for whatever reason. I got great respect for Ricky and the staff up there. I think that, you're sitting there looking at very similar universities. He's got a quarterback that's a real pain in the tail. He can rip it when he needs to, but his legs are and the design quarterback run game are a problem. His running back's a good player. Got a couple of wideouts that I think are very solid, solid dudes. Offensive line look big at tackle, and they're big solid bodies on the inside. So offensively, I think they've got weapons, and I think he's got a good offensive mind to be able to figure out how he wants to attack us. On defense, it's the same. They've always been a very tough, stout opponent, and I would expect nothing different as we go into this game. Last year, big emphasis was on the special teams. That really was something that helped us win up there, and I'm sure that that's going to be a piece of this game as well. So I got every expectation that's going to be a hell of a dogfight. Here in Meade, they're coming off a tough one versus Villanova. I think they turned it over a couple times, and so it's going to be two unhappy teams getting after each other for a meaningful CAA game. And I'm really looking forward to getting back out of here, and we're all trying to get that bad taste out of your mouth by going ahead and playing well against a quality opponent and finding a way to win.
You touched on their quarterback, Matt Vezza. The last few years they've had with Seth Morgan and then Brosmer before that, kind of guys who were more pocket passers. How does he make their offense different with the things he can do?
Well, he's a very aggressive runner, in terms of some of the design quarterback runs, and then he's got a good clock in his head and a good vision of the front, if you're an inside rusher and you got an inside rush lane and you're choosing to go ahead and go an opposite way, open up a void, he's going to see it and he's going to take it. And he doesn't just run for six and slide. He's trying to go ahead and wiggle, and he'll go head first and take hits, all the rest of it. And then, what's impressed me the more I've got a chance to watch him is that when he does have a chance to get his feet set, and they do, he can rip the ball. He's had some streaky things, hot and cold at times, but he can throw it with accuracy and with speed, and he can throw on the run as well. So we got our hands full, as we always have. I mean, we're all just trying to scrape and try to find a way to win the next one, and this is going to be a very tough CAA football game. I expect nothing less, and we'll get prepared and see who's the best team.
Just one more for you from Steve before we go.
Thanks, Rob. Coach, last week, a short week for you, coming back from Western Michigan and then a Friday night game. How much of a challenge is that versus this week? You've got an extra day with the Friday night game, followed up with a Saturday. How much of an advantage for you, scheduling wise, and getting things in?
It was more of a deep breath. I think, if you look back 2 weeks ago, I mean, we got home at, 5:30 in the morning from Western Michigan, and then you had the short week. It's not an excuse. I mean, I think we managed the week properly. So we didn't, I was anticipating getting a W and representing the CAA in a better fashion than losing to Ivy League and losing the Governor's Cup and having a good Saturday off for staff and players. Unfortunately, went the other way, so I was off tossing and turning. So I got up, got the film knocked out, but got the afternoon off, which was really a beautiful day here in Rhode Island. And then we got back, with the team yesterday. We didn't work out. I think they needed a break. They need a physical break. Haven't had an off week yet. And so we're just into our normal routine now, which is, we finished up practice a little bit ago. The game is behind us. They're focused on New Hampshire, and they had a phenomenal Monday practice. Good energy, good leadership, everything you're hoping to see with a team that's hurting a little bit with the performance they put on last week.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Rob.
All right, Jim. Thanks so much for your time today, and I look forward to talking again next